I caught my neighbor's son robbing my cabin in broad daylight. I had the cops on the way, I had him dead to rights, and somehow in less than 20 minutes, I was the one being treated like the lunatic neighbor while he stood there praised as a hero. And the worst part, his mother wasn't just covering for him. She was the HOA president running a scam so twisted it could ruin my family's life. Act 1. The Spark of Conflict. It was a Tuesday afternoon. I was buried in coding work when I heard the sound that made my blood run cold, glass breaking behind the house. I looked out, and there was Dylan Hall, my neighbor's 20-year-old son, smashing my cabin door with a crowbar like he was auditioning for a demolition crew. No hesitation. Broad daylight. I grabbed my phone, called 911, whispered into the receiver while watching him stuff my laptop and the emergency cash I kept for my pregnant wife, Rachel. And then this punk pulls out his own phone. 911, he shouts. I just stopped a break-in at my neighbor's cabin. I thought I was hallucinating. This kid literally just robbed me, and now he's playing neighborhood hero. 3 minutes later, Officer Martinez pulls up. Dylan is already outside, pointing at the broken door, acting like some good Samaritan. He even produces evidence: old gloves, a different crowbar, a fake wallet with random IDs. This wasn't a kid panicking. This was rehearsed. When I ran out and told the truth, "Officer, I saw him break in with my own eyes," Dylan tilted his head, softened his voice, and said, "Mr. Bryant, you've been under a lot of stress with Rachel's pregnancy. Maybe the shock is confusing your memory." And the neighbors bought it. Mrs. Chen, sweet old lady across the street, patted Dylan's arm. Such a brave young man, always protecting us. Then Rachel came home, saw the commotion, saw Dylan playing the victim. She looked at me with that worried face and whispered, "Honey, everyone saw Dylan helping. You must have been confused." That moment broke me. My own wife thought I was losing my mind. Act 2. Escalation and the twist. The next morning, Kimberly Hall, Dylan's mom, and the HOA president showed up at my door. Clipboard smile, stepping into my living room like she owned it. "Patrick," she said sweetly, as an HOA board member, "I need documentation for yesterday's incident." Then she spread photos across my table, pictures of me taken over weeks, me at the mailbox, me staring across the street, notes in neat handwriting. 15 p.m., subject: watching Dylan's residence. She even had Rachel's private emails to her sister about my insomnia and stress. She leaned in almost like a therapist. Paranoid behavior often leads to false accusations, especially in expectant fathers. That's when it hit me. This wasn't about one burglary. Kimberly was building a case to paint me as unstable. Later that week, she held a community safety meeting. Dylan stood at the front like some golden boy. "I'd like to volunteer as neighborhood watch coordinator," he said. Neighbors applauded. And then, without naming names, he described a resident showing erratic behavior, making false accusations. Everyone's eyes shifted toward me. I wanted to scream. Instead, I sat there realizing I was being erased from my own neighborhood. The breaking point. That night, Rachel told me her blood pressure was spiking. "The doctor says I need to avoid stress," she whispered, and I saw it the way she looked at me, like I was the danger to her and our baby. I went to bed thinking maybe they're right. Maybe I am losing it. For the first time, I wanted to pack up, sell the house, and just disappear. But then I overheard Kimberly on the phone in her backyard. Her voice dropped cold and sharp. "Phase 2 is complete." Mrs. Chen's rattled. "Patrick's credibility is destroyed. Once we secure the final properties, the development permits can be fast-tracked." Development permits. It all clicked. This wasn't about me. This was about money. Kimberly had filed plans for luxury condos needed to force out elderly residents, Mrs. Chen, the widower at the end of the block, even my house. And Dylan. He was in debt. I'd followed him to a dive bar and heard him begging dangerous guys for more time to pay off 25 grand. The community hero was a desperate criminal, and his mother was weaponizing the HOA to cover it up. That's when I found out their next move: Dylan was going to plant Mrs. Chen's stolen jewelry in my cabin. The plan was to discover it during his next inspection and frame me as the neighborhood thief. For the first time in weeks, I smiled. Because if Dylan wanted to play dirty, fine. I'd set the trap myself. Act 3. The Showdown. Friday afternoon, I canceled my work calls. I invited Mrs. Chen over with a casual line. "I think I found some jewelry in my cabin that might be yours." She agreed instantly. At exactly 200, Dylan crept into my backyard. Canvas bag in hand, lockpick set out sliding into the cabin like he'd done it 100 times. I watched from the kitchen window as he planted the jewelry into my toolbox. And then, perfect timing, I walked in with Mrs. Chen right behind me. "Dylan, what the hell are you doing in my cabin?" The kid froze, Harold's wedding ring still in his hand. Mrs. Chen gasped, "That's my husband's ring. How dare you?" Within minutes, neighbors gathered like moths to a flame. Dylan stammered some nonsense about finding planted evidence, but the necklace wrapped around his wrist told the truth. I pulled out his surveillance notebook. Page after page of our schedules, valuables, vulnerabilities. He's been mapping our houses, learning our routines, planning exactly when to rob us, I announced. Neighbors flipped through, connecting the dots. The teacher remembered Dylan helpfully asking about her book club nights. The young couple recalled him offering to house sit, asking about their vacations. Even the grumpy guy admitted Dylan asked too many questions about his coin collection. Then Kimberly stormed in. "What's going on here? Why are you harassing my son?" She saw the notebook, the jewelry, the furious faces, and her mask slipped. "Mom," Dylan blurted out, panicked, "you said they'd blame Mr. Bryant. You said no one would figure it out." Her jaw clenched. And in true HOA Karen style, she pulled out her phone and dialed 911, screaming, "My son is being attacked by vigilante neighbors. They're framing him." But when Officer Martinez arrived, it wasn't Dylan holding the moral high ground. It was Dylan holding Mrs. Chen's wedding ring surrounded by witnesses. Martinez asked calmly, "Son, if you found stolen jewelry in Patrick's cabin, why are you holding it instead of leaving it for evidence?" Dylan stuttered. Sweat poured. No answer. Then Martinez flipped through the surveillance notebook. "This is premeditation," he muttered. "You've been planning these thefts for months." Neighbors gave testimony, one after another. Dylan cracked. He confessed about the burglaries, the fake evidence, even the plan to scare elderly neighbors into selling their homes. And he threw his mother under the bus. "Mom said the development money would pay off my debts." Kimberly tried one last trick, fake video of me sneaking around her house. But Martinez shut it down instantly. The police had been running surveillance for insurance fraud. Her footage didn't match their records. That was it. Kimberly's web collapsed. Martinez turned to Dylan. "You're under arrest for burglary, conspiracy, elder abuse." The cuffs clicked, the sound of justice snapping shut. Then he looked at Kimberly. "Ma'am, you're under arrest for conspiracy, fraud, and evidence tampering." As she was led away, Kimberly spat venom. "Patrick, you don't know who you're dealing with. This goes deeper than you think. You just painted a target on your family." Her voice shook me more than I want to admit, because maybe she wasn't lying. Closing line. The HOA wanted to crush me, but the truth crushed them instead.